We're going to look at Federalist number 39. This is part 1. This is one of the resources that I've told you about, teachingamericanhistory.org. Definitely take a look at that and look at the resources it has for you while you're studying early American history, the founding of this country, the Federalist Papers. Like in the summary version of the Federalist Paper 39, Gordon Lloyd, who is in charge of this website, or he's the scholar that does a lot of the work on this website, he says one of the things that Federalist 39 does, says, does the Constitution, this Constitution, pass the Republican and the federal test? He says that's what Federalist number 39 tries to address. Is the new Constitution a Republican form of Constitution? It's a Constitution for a republic, not Republican like the Republican Party. Okay? Maybe I should have said this with a small r, because whenever you put a big R, it becomes a Republican Party. But this is a small r for Republican form of government. And then, is it a federal? Does it pass the federal test? Now remember, during this article, during this paper, Madison is going to use the words federal, and on the other side he's going to use national. Remember, when he says national, it means a government which majority of the power is at the center. At the center, central government runs the show. But when he says federal, especially in this paper, he's talking a federal form of government where power is divided, just like we've talked about. State governments have certain powers that the federal government cannot take away. Federal government has certain powers and authority that the states can't mess with. And then they've got concurrent authority in some other areas. So all through this paper, Madison wants to prove to you that this thing is both Republican, this new Constitution, and also a federal. And if there's a part that there's a mixture of federal and national, he'll say it. So I'll start reading it, and we'll just talk about it some more. The last paper, having concluded the observations which were meant to introduce a candid survey of the plan of government reported by the convention. So every time you hear the plan of government reported by the convention, they're talking about this new Constitution. We now proceed to the execution of that part of our undertaking. The first question that offers itself is whether the general form and aspect of the government be strictly Republican. It is evident that no other form would be reconcilable with the genius of the people of America, with the fundamental principles of the Revolution, or with the honorable determination which animates every votary of freedom to rest all our political experiments on the capacity of mankind for self-government. If the plan of the convention, therefore, be found to depart from the Republican character, its advocates must abandon it as no longer defensible. So he says, of course this is a Republican form of government that we have suggested in this Constitution. When he says the genius of American people, like I've told you before, genius doesn't have the same meaning it does now. It means with the accepted norm of the American people. Right now, he says Americans will accept nothing other than a Republican form of government because we just fought a war to get rid of monarchy. Of course, this is going to be a constitution that's going to be Republican in form, and it's going to be loved by everybody, that is devoted to freedom and loves freedom. And also remember that line again and again. He says, we're also doing a political experiment with this form of government for the rest of mankind to show that we can have self-government. We don't have to have monarchs and kings ruling us, ruling human beings, ruling human communities all the time. The next paragraph, what then are the distinctive characters of the Republican form? So what is Republican about this Constitution? Were an answer to this question to be sought, not by recurring to principles, but in the application of the term by political writers to the constitutions of different states, no satisfactory one would ever be found. Holland, in which no particle of the supreme authority is derived from the people, has passed almost universally under the denomination of a republic. The same title has been bestowed on Venice, where absolute power over the great body of the people is exercised in the most absolute manner by a small body of hereditary nobles. Poland, which is the mixture of aristocracy and of monarchy in their worst forms, has been dignified with the same appellation. The government of England, which has one republican branch only, combined with an hereditary aristocracy and monarchy, has with equal impropriety been frequently placed on the list of republics. So he says, if you're going to define Republican for you, and if we look at examples around the world right now, he says these are not truly Republican. He says you look at Holland, he's talking about Netherlands, United Netherlands, that we talked about in a previous Federalist. He talks about Venice, then he talks about England. He says some people call these republics, but they just don't stand up to the definition of republic. These examples, which are nearly as dissimilar to each other as to a genuine republic, show the extreme inaccuracy with which the term has been used in political disquisitions. So he says we see that none of these examples really fits the definition of a republic. All right. Since the next paragraph, I won't be able to fit it in this video, I'm just going to stop here. Just going to say that make sure you check out this website and take advantage of the resources. He's got a wealth of material there for you. He's got the Federalist Papers, he's got the summary, he's got the text of it, and a lot of other things. So definitely check out teachingamericanhistory.org.